What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another build video. This build video is for my latest Werewolf PvP sorcerer build. It has got tons and tons of major buffs. It's been buffed this patch as well. It's now got major protection added to Werewolf, which is now going to make you super tanky. It was already tanky and now it's even tankier, so Werewolf is in a good spot this patch. So let's get straight into it. We've got 43k health, around 17k pen, and up to 8,000 weapon damage. So we'll jump straight into the sets. So the first set we are running is the Mark of the Pariah, which gives you a line of health, 2 lines of armor, and it will give you nearly 10,000 physical and spell resistance based upon your missing health. The flat value is 2,290, so it's a very strong set for PvP, easily farmed in Hrothgar or bought on guild traders. I've got it in sharpened. I've got life drain enchantment, but I would recommend to use escapist poisons to immobilize your enemies. It drains health from them and deals poison damage and restores health to you, and also drains magicka, increasing the cost of their abilities as well, and restores magicka to you, which is pretty good. Or you can just run double dot poisons. The head is the Helm of the Pariah in heavy, reinforced with max health. The next set we're running is Nick's Hound's Howl set, which is one of the highest damage sets in the game. It's going to give you 3 lines of weapon and spell damage, and when you complete a fully charged heavy attack, which I do quite often on Werewolf builds and a lot of people do, so you're going to have really high uptime. It's going to give you major courage, and it's also going to give them major cowardice, so it's going to lower their weapon damage and it's going to boost your weapon damage, and it's got a very high uptime as well. So a very brilliant set there. So I've got it on the chest, Divines, max magicka. The shoulders are Pariah, impenetrable, max health. The waist is Nick's Hound, Divines, max magicka. The hands are Nick's Hounds, Divines, max magicka. Legs are Nick's Hounds, Divines, max magicka. And the feet are impenetrable, Pariah. So we're running 3 heavy, 4 medium. We've got the Nick's Hound's Howl Amulet, which is infused with weapon damage. Ring of the Trainee for some extra health, infused weapon damage. And the Oaken Soul Ring, healthy with weapon damage enchantment. I've got all Divines to boost, but you can obviously, ideally, again, with a lot of these builds, particularly Werewolf, I would recommend to try stat the armor if you can, and the small pieces impenetrable and the larger pieces reinforced or a bit of well fitted in between the impenetrable. It's up to you really, but I find it works fine as it is because the Werewolf's so tanky, and just pushing a bit more into that pen with the Divines because we're running the Lover Mundus. So my character sheet, this is just flat stats here. We've got 64 points into health. I am a high health, so I would recommend any damage race if you can, as you want to push that damage as high as possible whilst being as tanky as possible. The critical resistance is at 2200. The physical and spell will go to around 34k physical and spell. The penetration will hit, like I said, around 17k pen, with all the debuffs you throw on, the minor and major breach. The recoveries will go a little bit higher, but not much higher, because we are using a special CP, which not a lot of people use, but it's used quite a lot on Werewolf, as it will give you the secret source to the recovery. The magicka and stamina will cap out around 24k each. We are running food-wise, but with sugar skulls, the Lover Mundus, just for penetration. So skill-wise, on the Werewolf, we're running Pack Leader to reduce your damage taken by 10%. You're going to get 30% extra stamina. You're going to get minor courage, so you've got minor and major courage on this. And while slotted, you also gain 15% stamina recovery. So we're running Brutal Pounce, which is just a bleed and applies the hemorrhaging status effects. If you stack this up to 5 or 6 times, it's going to give you weapon and spell damage 100 each, so you can really stack up that weapon damage. It's also going to do the brutal carnage bleed damage over 10 seconds. The rage is just for your max health, like a burst heal basically. If you're already at full health, it's going to restore stamina and give you major berserk. So you're going to have minor and major berserk and minor and major courage. So you're going to have a ton of damage. And also you gain major brutality and sorcery, but we've already got that with the Oaken Soul. But this is where the werewolf build has changed this patch, because the deafening roar, which it used to set off balance, it still does that. It applies the major breach and minor maim, which it also did, but the changes at the bottom, it says while slotted you gain major protection. So that major protection is going to give you another 10% damage reduction. And what was here before was the major savagery and prophecy. So they're on the other morph, so you lose that, but of course it's already on the Oaken Soul, so you're not losing a single thing. In fact, you're gaining extra damage reduction. So you're getting 10% from that pack leader, and you're getting another 10% from the deafening roar while slotted. Howl of Agony is your spammable, deals a ton of physical damage. Enemies that are now terrified, it's no longer facing, it's if they're terrified. You're going to get bonus damage, and also ones off balance. The deafening roar will set them off balance. The Claws of Anguish are just a disease attack, also deals disease damage over time. Also afflicts them with major defile, so it's going to reduce their shield strength and their healing, and also it's going to apply the diseased status effects. I won't go into the skills on the actual bar when you're not in werewolf form, because I always make sure I'm in werewolf form before I go into content, i.e. battlegrounds like the ultimate is ready or Imperial City, and you can pretty much sustain infinitely in werewolf form in them two scenarios. If you're in Cyrodiil, I would just recommend having just like a offense skill, a defense skill, and just a few healing skills. You know, just on one bar. I just typically run one bar. You can go 2 bar with a defense on the sword and bald, but I think it's a little overkill. Just make sure your ult's ready. But again, if you're in Cyrodiil, you can just hit resource points, and there is mobs in between battles and stuff. But obviously it's more optimal in battlegrounds and Imperial City. Make sure you have all your passives in your 3 class lines, all your passives in two-handed, all your passives in medium and heavy, all your passives in werewolf and undaunted, assault and support line, and make sure you have your racial passives and also medicinal use, just to make your potions last longer. The effects. Champion point wise, I don't know if I've got them properly equipped, but just Steed's Blessing and Liquid Efficiency I would recommend. Potions last longer and just a bit more movement rate. The blue CP, this is where the secret stuff comes in. I've done it on previous builds as well. But Deadly Aim for some single target, extra 6% bonus. Resilience for some critical resistance. Master at Arms for a more direct damage attack bonus. And Foresight is what's going to give you that sustain. So every time you drink that potion, it's going to reduce the cost of your rage, which heals you by 75%. So if you're in panic mode and you're really going down, just pop a potion. You can spam your heals a lot longer for 6 seconds and really get back to form. So that's really going to give you that sustain. Which is essential when you're running a low recovery build, which this one is fairly low. So with that on, you'll be totally fine. Red CP, I recommend Bindless Vitality for some health, rejuvenation, sustained by suffering. So when you're in combat, you will get a little bit extra. They're probably going to top out around 1300, the recovery. So it'll still be low, but again, we're hitting that Nyx Hound's heavy attack, but I'll explain that in a minute. And Pain's Refuge, just to reduce the damage taken up to 20%. So you're really going to have some good damage reduction on this. So let's go and show you how to play it. But Werewolf is fairly simple, but just in case you're new and you want to see some how it is all fits together. So as you can see, our health will increase from 39.1 to 43k nearly. So there we go. So you want to pre-buff with your rage, and then you just want to sort of pounce in and just keep stacking them pounces on them, chuck in your Claws of Anguish, and then when you're ready to lay into them, you heavy attack to prop the Nyx Hound's Howl, and just be spamming the light and light attacks and the I forget what it's called now, and the Howl of Agony. That's your 2 spammables, light attack and Howl of Agony, and just keeping them pounces on them, set them off balance. You know, keep that dot on them, the disease status effects from the Claws of Anguish. And like I said, once the Nyx Hound drops off, just reapply it, and then you're going to be getting some really strong hits. You've got tons of penetration for the werewolf, you've got tons of damage, and you've got a lot of resistance and health to really back you up. So yeah, that's the end of the tutorial and the build video section, guys. Stay tuned for the clips just to see the build in action. Drop this video a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I do loads of builds and guides and stuff to do with ESO. And any comments, drop them in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next video.